beginning a descent. Cruising depth in roughly 40 seconds. Stand by. I'm seeing some voltage irregularities in the instruments, so keep an eye out for sparks or flames or anything like that. Approaching maximum depth. The hull's feeling it, but it's still holding strong. Closing porthole shielding. We're starting to lose radio signal. You'll be at cruise depth soon, so refreshing and be careful. You're on your own. Good.
Beneath the thick surface of an alien ocean of blood, the cold yet somehow liquid gore, lies a lone submarine. Within it, the last hope of the dregs of humanity rests upon a convict who has no hope at all. Let us pray that the iron lung will not breathe its last like so many did in the quiet rapture. This is the basic premise of the game Iron Lung, a short horror experience by David Szymanski. Its seemingly simple concept has enraptured many people, further driven by the strong emotions the game itself elicits. But what makes this universe so chilling? While others have talked about the intriguing setting, the innate fears, and the growing mysteries of it all, I want to focus on the game itself, looking at how all of these pieces are supported by the most important part of the game, its sound design. Iron Lung accomplishes its atmosphere almost entirely through sound. Visual information is limited to a measly photo camera that can barely snap a grainy, monochrome photo in 3 slow seconds. And while its design is frightening, leaving near everything up to the imagination, it's the sound that actually spurs that imagination into motion. Furthermore, the sound design does 3 things essential to the game. It grounds you in the setting, preys on the many phobias present in the game, and muddies all the information you are desperately grabbing at. It is only because of the sound design that this hour-long experience works so well, without you even realizing. So, let's dive in. The introduction of Iron Lung does a stunning job of immersing the player. I mentioned that there is no visual information allotted to you, but actually, a window is shown,
Closing porthole shielding.
before quickly being taken away, sealing you in an iron tomb. While this happens, a human voice guides you down to the bottom of the ocean, but it isn't very relaxing. It's garbled and fuzzy, and the person on the other side is impersonal, almost bored. Yet this frustrating feeling is preferable to what immediately follows, its absence. A sense of dread looms over you, along with one thought: I am alone. The ambient noises of the submarine only further this terror. The machinery is loud, dry, and claustrophobic, in contrast with the sounds of the sub's movement along the ocean floor, which are quieter, wetter, and muffled behind inches of metal. Furthermore, every sound in the game, aside from music, is diegetic, meaning that it is heard within the world of the game. There are no UI sounds, there are no achievements, there is no jingle or fanfare to signal progress. You are trapped in the setting, with nothing to distract you. It really does sound like you are pushing through viscous clots of blood, and the occasional drips you hear inside are a constant reminder that the Iron Lung is not built to last. Still, these are sounds that you are in control of. In a way, the feedback you receive from moving forward becomes almost soothing, until you start to hear more alien sounds. Everything from low, droning sounds to high, breathy gasps start to cross your ears, all preying on many phobias are present in this game: claustrophobia, thalassophobia, astrophobia, and a phobia so intense that it has no name, yet exists in everyone, the fear of the unknown. These fears are deeply intertwined with the setting itself, which is why many of the examples used before can be applied here as well. Moreover, its unique setting combines and amplifies each fear. The sound of the blood ocean is tight, dark, and alien. There's nothing quite like it. It's much more dense than water, weighing hard on the already claustrophobic sub. The scraping, grating noise of what may be ocean floor plant life tells you that you are at the bottom of the ocean beyond any help. And the unrecognizable sounds of something in the depths take existing sea creatures' eeriness to another level. Your submarine is slowly being crushed by the pressure. The oxygen is running out, bit by bit. Something is stalking you. And the worst part of it all is that your only tool of defense is a single motion sensor. It's your most reliable source of information. More than the camera, more than the map, maybe even more than your own mind, all packaged in a tiny, ticking sound. Already the sound is intense, stirring the claustrophobia and thalassophobia, especially when you're forced to navigate tight spaces, the ticking only getting faster the closer you are to collision. But right when you get used to the sound, and can use it to accurately navigate the maze-like ocean, it is used against you. You have no idea what just passed by you, but whatever it was fast. Much faster than you could ever move in your tiny submarine. Moments like these bring out all of the fears, making them ever more intense. Of course, it doesn't end there. More and more events start to happen, and more noises start to resound throughout your sub, each one more intense than the last, and each Although you may not want to hear the sounds coming from outside the sub, you'd prefer to at least know when something is coming after you. The game, however, works against you every step of the way. Every sound the sub makes obscures the sounds of things around you. Again, the sludging movement through blood is loud, the buttons you press equally so, even the motion sensor can be distracting at times. And to top it all off, the longer you go on, the more the sub starts to break down, adding even more to the ambient noise. This accomplishes two things. First, it raises the overall tension by increasing the noise floor, which in this case refers to the volume of the ambient environment, the minimum amount of sound that you hear at all times. Here, it starts out pretty low, but by the end, it's full of staticky, noisy, garbling sounds that put you on edge. What this does, secondly, is to make it harder to hear the monsters outside of your sub. Since the noise floor keeps rising, the quieter drones get washed out altogether, and the louder wails are barely heard over the ambience. And then, this happens. Let's pause for a moment and rewind back. If you look at the monster, you'll notice that there isn't actually much going on. Quite literally, the big bad of this game is a moving PNG. I'd hazard to say that most of you weren't scared by it, even if it was your first time watching. So why does it get every single person who sees it?
295 confirmed beautifully. Oh! What is it? Oh!
I'd say that there are three reasons for this. The first is quite simple. The tension has been building up for about an hour now. That's why it isn't as scary watching it as an observer. You just aren't as invested as when you actually play the game. The second is a bit deeper, and others have touched on it as well. This specific moment takes advantage of the gameplay mechanics and catches you off guard. The whole game is spent taking pictures of horrible objects and creatures outside of the sub, so your expectation is that it will be the same way for the last picture, only to be interrupted right as you go to take that picture. And the third is, in my opinion, what makes the entire game worthwhile. I mentioned it before that your only visual information is limited to that dingy camera. It's what makes the sounds so uneasy, both because it forces you to rely on them for information, and because the deprivation of one sense enhances the others. Therefore, in this last moment, you go from having zero visual information to having a complete overload. Even here, the game only allows a small glimpse of the monster, but your eyes and mind try to parse as much information as they can in the half second they see this creature. Your focus flits between the explosion of blood and the features of this animal moving towards you, in which you barely recognize a face before the game cuts you off with its title card. Obviously, to support this, the sound goes wild here. They are the loudest in the game, smashing the noise floor and filling your ears. They are completely unique to this moment, triggering your fight or flight response. And they are suddenly the only alien sounds that you hear inside your submarine. It is the climax in every sense of the word. The audio climax, the visual climax, the narrative climax. Finally, the tension of 60 dredging minutes is released, and you can relax now, your blood mixed with the sea surrounding you. Iron Lung ends still with a lot of mysteries hidden beneath its surface. The strange objects you photographed raise more questions than answers, and the closing words don't exactly help. The lore update expounded more on the universe that the game is set in, and confirms some of the disquieting thoughts that nagged at the back of your mind while playing. The blood was human. There were others before you, and the ones who sent you down knew your fate. Yet, in this bleak and dying universe, they found some worth in this expedition. Although the light of the stars may be fizzling out, leaving their moons dark and lifeless, the scarlet ichor of humanity still holds a ray of hope. And that is all one can ask for. Thank you for watching this video. This topic is very thought-provoking to me, so if you enjoyed it, please leave a comment. It genuinely makes me very happy. And if the topic of horror game design also interests you, know that I'm planning to make this into a short series on different aspects of design in different types of horror games. All things willing, the next entry in this series will be on the visual design of It Steals, which is a lot more complex than you might first think. Again, thank you for watching, and I hope to see you next time.